What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, Wealth Hacker Labs. I am your gracious host, Jeff Rose. It is Thursday, and I've got another economic stimulus check update for you. Now, whenever I did my last update, there was something with that update that I didn't realize, and this is critical information. It just kind of gives us an expectation if and when a second stimulus check gets approved and it gets passed, what is an expected timeline when you can expect to receive your check? Because whenever I did my last update, for those that don't know, so the HEROES Act, so this is the second bill that has passed in the House. Right now, we're waiting on the Senate to approve it. Everything got pushed back, especially after the May unemployment, the jobs report came out and things seemed like the economy was improving. So because of that, all the legislators, everybody has just pushed back and saying, we're not going to vote on this until July. I know whenever I heard this, I was frustrated. Based on all your comments, you are frustrated. You know, just many people are still struggling, trying to figure out how they're gonna make ends meet. So the fact that this thing is getting pushed back even further, so many of you are frustrated. But you know, for me, I'm a guy, I'm gonna try to look at a glass half full or a Yeti half full, and just hopeful that, okay, if they are coming back in July, then what's going to happen then? You know, how quickly can a second check get passed and then also get approved? And then when is that going to make its way to you in the form of a check, a direct deposit, or a prepaid debit card, you know, whatever that looks like. And that's when I realized there was something about that optimism whenever I came across a schedule, which I'll share here in a second, that just increased my frustration. I'm trying not to cast my frustration onto you, still want to be optimistic, but now just trying to be a realist in when we could expect a second check to get to you. But before we go into that, for those that don't know, you know, I am a contributor to Forbes. So in addition to doing YouTube videos and also my blog, I also contribute to Forbes. And if you want to check out my latest article that just went live today, this is just talking about how likely is a second stimulus check going to happen. I'll have a link in the description if you want to read that. So that's just the latest updates that I have to share what's going on there. But what I'm talking about as far as in this video, the timeline, the optimistic best case scenario of when can we expect a check. So once again, you know, Congress says that they are, you know, basically pushing back any decisions until July. You know, they want to see the June jobs report, the unemployment numbers, you know, how the economy is doing before they make any decisions. So here we are. Okay, we're waiting until July. But, you know, of course, whenever they made that announcement, there was one piece of that wasn't mentioned, and that is this. So you can go to the United States Senate, you can go to their website, and they have a schedule that shares like when are they meeting, when are they in session. Let me see if I can actually increase this a little bit, make sure that you can see this. So for those that are familiar, I mentioned this in a last video with Memorial Day. You know, you had, they were on recess, I'm doing quotation marks here, recess for Memorial Day weekend or Memorial Day week. So they were off, you know, May the 25th through the 29th. They came back in June. And then that, after a week, obviously dealing with all the riots, all the looting, everything that was going on, no announcements were made. And then that's when they made the announcement that they were going to push back until July before they would actually come to a vote on the HEROES Act, which is the second $1,200 check, among other things. But here's one thing to take note is that they are on recess. Recess. I'm doing air quotes again. Help me out here. Recess in July from the 3rd until the 17th. So they're going to wait until July, but they're not going to come back on July the 5th, or I guess that would be on a Sunday, July the 6th, and make a vote then, because they're going to be on recess until the 17th. So they're not even gonna vote on anything or deliberate on anything until they get back, which if they're out to the 17th, that would not be until July the 20th. So Monday, July the 20th is whenever they would be back in session looking at the HEROES Act. And as a reminder, at the time of this recording, it is Thursday, June the 11th. So we have to wait until Monday, July the 20th before they even vote. And just to put this in perspective, so with the CARES Act, and this is the first check that you have either received or still waiting to receive, with the CARES Act, this was put into place, was voted on, trying to find the date here. It was like, I know it was passed on a Friday. Yeah, here it is, on March 27th. So it passed the Senate on March 25th, and the very next day, passed in the House, and then President Trump put it into force on March the 27th. And I want to share that date because it passed officially on the 27th. So from there, the very first checks that went out and were received by the first Americans, and all this was through direct deposit, was about April the 15th. So if you have, a calendar, if you want to look at the dates, so check this out. So here is the 27th. So this is whenever, President Trump put it into force. And then all these days here, it didn't go out until the 15th. So the 15th is when it finally got deposited, not paper checks, a direct deposit into people's checking accounts. And this was 19 days. So 19 days from whenever Trump passed the CARES Act until it actually made it into the hands of Americans. So here we are looking at a July calendar. Right now, we're not even in July, but it's still 11th. So I guess I should have printed off the July calendar so you could see how many more days we have left in June and then going into July. So the Senate is on recess from here until here. So they're out. They ain't working. They're on recess. You like how I did the air quotes there? Recess. So they come back on the 20th. So let's say they come back on the 20th and they go through deliberations and they decide, okay, yeah, here's what we want to change. They're reviewing it. I guess they first have to vote on it, which they're going to deny it because they've said that for the longest time. And they had deliberations go back, to the Democrats and say, here's the changes we want. They go back and forth. So let's just say optimistically that this thing passes on the 29th or the 30th, somewhere in this date. And then Trump puts it into force on the 31st. So the 31st. So from there, if we want to do the same 19 days that we saw with the CARES Act before the very first direct deposit went out, now we are going into August and ending on July 31st makes it really easy because we can, 19 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 17, 18, 19 is right here. So August the 19th is a potential date that the next second $1,200 stimulus check actually makes it into the hands of the first Americans that have direct deposit set up. Now, that being said, one could say, well, with the CARES Act, all the infrastructure wasn't in place yet. You had the IRS Get My Payment tool, making sure direct deposit was set up. Everybody's address might not have been current. Had the prepaid debit cards that, that they never had issued those before. So now they have, the system in place to, make this happen and hopefully make it happen sooner. So in that case, all right, so maybe we give them an extra week. So maybe instead of the 19th, we're looking at August the 12th as the date that the checks could arrive. I think based off the current timeline of, them being on recess until Monday, July 20th, getting back, voting, going through deliberations and actually saying, all right, it's good to go. I feel like August the 12th is not an unrealistic prediction on when those checks could be sent out, and that's just, I mean, yeah, here I am. I'm trying to pass some optimism here. I'm trying to be optimistic, but I mean, we're talking from today's date, just over 60 days on a best case scenario on when the next check could arrive. And that's assuming that the bill actually passes. I know many of you still don't think that's going to pass, and you know, a lot can happen from now until then. And I think probably the scariest thing that's going on right now is that as states have begun to open up, as quarantine, you know, is getting more lax, you know, we're seeing reported numbers in different states. You know, I've seen cases, you know, in California where LA, you know, cases are going up. COVID-19 or coronavirus cases. And I'm seeing situations in San Francisco where they haven't gone up at all. Like, you know, they're trying to figure out like what's causing this. You know, why are in some states and some cities we're seeing record cases, in other cities where, you know, they haven't. I forgot the city where they shared this, but like they haven't been as strict with social distancing, and even because. Despite that, you know, the cases really haven't been all that crazy compared to what we've seen in New York and California and other isolated incidents. So there's still a lot that can happen with that. But if coronavirus cases continue to soar, we see the cases go up, and then the U.S. has to shut down again. I mean, I just don't see how they can push this back until July the 20th to even make a vote. Yeah, so I expect that there's going to be a lot more announcements, a lot more updates on this. But nonetheless, based off all the information that we have right now, I am predicting, hopeful, best case scenario, August the 12th is when you can expect to see that next economic stimulus check, whether it be a $1,200 that is currently proposed, maybe it's more, maybe it's less, but August the 12th is what we're looking at. In the event that there are any updates to this, be sure to subscribe. I'll have more information on this, among other things. I've got some more content rolling out your way, just talking about wealth, accelerated wealth building strategies, investing, how to produce passive income. So if you're not yet a subscriber to the Wealth Hacker channel, now is that time. All right, y'all, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a like and subscribe, which I've already said a few times, but go ahead and take care of all that. All right, until next time, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it is your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.